Good morning, everybody. This is Robert People of RobertPeople.com, and this is People's Court. Thank you for tuning in. Today is Wednesday, January 15th, 2020. And again, I'm outside, so please forgive the noise. I'm just enjoying this walk in this lovely weather. But today, for this episode, I want to talk a little bit about decisions that we make in our lives. You know, there's so much talk, and especially in the area of social media, we do so much talking. You know, it baffles me how there's so many people out there. There's so many people out there who feel a certain way about their lives, but are not willing to do something about them. We, number one, spend all our time talking about others. You spend all your time talking about others and what they need to do to change their lives. But what are you doing to change yours? What are you doing to get yourself out of the place that you have repeatedly said you don't want to be in? We live in a society that embraces struggle for some odd reason. We embrace struggle. We brag. We make jokes about being poor. We boast about, you know, all the tough relationships we've had. We don't talk about them in the sense of how they've helped you grow or how you're trying to work your way out of them. We stay there because that's what the rest of society does. That's what everyone else does. So it's better to let's just remain there. Let's not make any decision. And you can either say, well, Robert, you don't know what people are doing. No, I don't. But I also don't see anything happening either. And that's what it comes down to. Yes, you can say everything, but the only thing, as my wife has taught me, the only thing you have to go on sometimes is what you see with your own eyes. Not to mention that sensibly, it doesn't make sense that everybody would be on the opposite side of what I see. Everybody can't be there. Some people may be, but not everyone. Why do we embrace struggle? Why do we act as though struggle somehow makes us more real than someone else? I don't know if you believe in God, and that's okay if you don't, but if you do, remember, God sent Jesus to die for our sins, to take the struggle off us so that we wouldn't have to. A lot of us as parents, we do things so that our children do not have to, so our children are in better places. That means you should not embrace struggle. You should not joke about it, but do something about it. There are people all over the place, all over, who want to take that step and they want to do something. I'm sorry, not take that step. They want to do something different with their lives, but won't take that step because they're afraid of how it's going to make them look. They're afraid of failing because they don't want to leave their other friends who are struggling. Because, see, they don't want to come across as too good for them. And whatever other reasons they have. My wife summed it up very well. At the time we were watching The Walking Dead series, she says that's what society does a lot. Society's like that. Everyone on social media, I'm an individual, I do my own thing, I don't care what anybody says and all this and that, but you go out in public and everybody's following what the hell everybody else is doing. That's what it comes down to. Everybody is just copying everybody else. Everyone's robotically walking around with phones, with their faces down in them, with them up to their ears, not paying the least bit of attention to what's going on around them. But everybody's an individual. I don't need to hear every single conversation to know any of that, to know what's going on, to see that stuff. I have heard a lot of them because I sometimes have no choice. When I'm in line in the grocery store and this person has to get on their phone and tell everybody their business, it's kind of hard not to hear them. But I don't have to hear every single conversation. Some of that stuff can wait. A lot of it can. You're sitting on the phone gossiping and you're holding people up and you're standing in their way. There's nothing important about that. I don't care if that's your phone or not. Now you're in my space. So no, it's not your business. It's ours. But it's Walking Dead. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, if you're not a fan of that genre, let me explain real quick. Walking Dead is basically about, it's about people. This is a world of science, let's say science fiction. I want to say it's considered as. I'm not a huge watcher of science fiction or engaged in that much, but I believe that's what it falls under, what category it falls under. And basically when people die, they become Walking Dead. They become like zombies, and they go around and they want to, and the way they keep themselves going is to go and eat the living still. And in this show, so many Walking Dead, there's so many of them around. Okay, and most people probably, this was a very popular show at its peak, so most of you probably already know about it. But for those of you who don't, this is a little bit of what it's about. So, but it's the sight of it, because all they're doing is just aimlessly walking around. Imagine how zombies would look, and that's what these Walking Dead individuals are. And after a while, it was discovered that that they came from, these weren't people from some random, faraway place. These were just people who died. You basically had to kill them twice so that they wouldn't come back as Walking Dead. So anyway, a lot of the ways the living folks were attacked was because these Walking Dead individuals would bunch up and come at them, sometimes in hundreds, sometimes in thousands, and that's how they would get them. And tying this into what I'm talking about is the fact that, as my wife said, this is what society does. We're all just following the person in front of us with no sense of where that person is going. And the minute someone decides to break off from the group, guess what? The Walking Dead go and attack them. When you're a living person and not just following everyone else, you get attacked by others. When it comes to decision making hard decisions about your life, when are you going to do that for yourself? Because you get to a point where it needs to happen. If you don't like your job, what is the benefit of coming to social media and complaining about it every day? What's the benefit? So a few people can like your posts, so they can share, so they can sympathize, so misery can love company. And what does it do for your position? What does it do for where you're sitting? Understand, this is not to say that everybody needs to love their jobs. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't take that context there. It's saying, what do you do about it? And the fact of the matter is, not much in the way of decisions are being made. Decision making doesn't mean you quit your job and then just stop working altogether. That's not what this means. And too many people are quick to snap back with, well, I can't quit my job. I got to pay my bills and all that. There's always something that somebody can come back with. Just making a decision is not saying quit your job and be unemployed and then don't pay your bills and all that. Making a decision says that if I know I don't like this job and I have something else in mind, making that decision means let me do what I need to do to get there. Let me take that first step. Let me say, okay, you know what? I don't like my job. I want to look at something else. And then you start taking those steps and making those moves to get there. If it means you got to go back to school, then you figure out how you go back to school. If you don't have money to go back to school, you figure out how to save money to go back to school. And so on and so on. Way too much we're in these places and we just sit there. While at the same time, we don't make decisions in our own lives, but at the same time, we know we could tell everyone else how to do everything as far as their lives are concerned. We could tell them exactly how to change, what they need to do to fix this and fix that, but we don't do that with ourselves. Social media is flooded, and I'm talking about flooded with finger pointing on what everybody else needs to do with their lives, while very few people talk about themselves. When people come on, and the funny thing is always this, when someone gets on social media and they ask the question, well, what should I do about XYZ? How quickly folks come on and comment. You know what everyone else needs to do about their lives, but don't know what to do about yours. And you're more closely connected to what's going on in your life than other people. So why are you have such a hard time making a decision in your own life than you do telling a total stranger about theirs? When this person says, let's say, for example, real quick example, and I'll wrap up. Person says, I'm 40 years old. I want to go back to school to be a doctor. We can give that person an answer real quick, right? But we don't know that person's circumstances. We don't know what's going on with them to be able to tell them to go ahead and do it or to not do it. We don't know what that person's feeling. We don't know if that person has all the means to do it but doesn't have the confidence. We have no idea. And the thing is, we're deciding. Most folks aren't even stopping to say, very seldom do we hear people say, think about the pros and cons. We never say. It's always instantly, yes, no, do it, don't do it. That's it. Not look at the pros and cons, not do any of that stuff. So we're able to give solid, straight answers to other people, to total strangers. Strangers we have no idea, we don't know anything about their lives, but we can give them answers quick. Yet when it comes to making decisions in our own lives, people we know most intimately, which is ourselves, and we have no idea. We don't want to make those decisions, take those steps. We don't want to do any of that stuff. When are you going to make a decision about your life and what you need to do? Are you going to continue following what society says you should do? Or what society is doing? And please spare me that I'm an individual, I'm not a follower stuff. Because everybody says you're not a follower, but everybody, that's exactly what you are doing. You are following that person in front of you. We spend so much time talking about how little we care about what other people think, but we got to tell them every 5 minutes. That means you care to some degree because you need them to know that. When are you going to make a decision that's going to change your life, that's going to improve your life, that's going to fix your life? I don't need you to tell me how little you care about what people think. That means nothing. What are you doing to fix what's going on with you? You can tell everyone else what's wrong with them. How about what's wrong with you? The hard truth. Give yourself that same tough love that you want to give everyone else. And in the same fashion. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't water it down. Because everyone loves to say that. I don't sugarcoat, I don't sugarcoat, I don't sugarcoat. You're not sugarcoating. You're sugarcoating with yourself, though. You're sugarcoating with yourself. Let's be truthful. Let's be real. Everybody talks about being real, right? Let's be real with this. You sugarcoat it with yourself. Because you sure as hell aren't getting on yourself the same way you get on others. Work in progress. Be patient with me. When are you going to make a decision about yourself? About your own life? Decisions, changes. Something that you know needs to be changed. When are you going to do that? When is this going to be? When are you going to do what you know you need to do? It's very easy to tell everyone else. When are you going to tell yourself? If you walk away and you never make any kind of decision, then it doesn't matter. If you get up and you're not making an active decision every day on what you are doing, not I'm going to get on social media, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to come home, and that's it. Those aren't decisions. That's what you have to do every day. But make that tough decision to look at yourself. If you need to, not if you need to change, because a lot of us do. But look at yourself. And if there's something in your life you want to do, start taking the steps to doing it. Take those steps to do it. Age is not an excuse. Where you live is not an excuse. Your circumstances is not an excuse. Your upbringing is not an excuse. Your childhood is not an excuse, because there's a story for every one of those instances. Let's get out of this place where we're constantly piggybacking off everyone else and make decisions for yourself. Make those tough decisions. Yeah, you might lose some friends, so what? The ones who are worth everything you won't lose. If you're not out there doing something illegal, then it shouldn't be a problem. But really, sit and ask yourself this. When are you going to make a decision on your life, about your life? Decisions. Again, not the same thing we do every day, but real decisions. That's going to change your circumstances. This is Robert People of RobertPeople.com. Enjoy your Wednesday. Have a wonderful day.